and welcome to Justice Losers, the most unqualified podcast exploring irrelevant questions about entertainment, namely movies, TVs, and comics. I'm your host, Preston, joined as always by my delightful co-host,
Batman.
Matt, what should people do?
Like, subscribe, and check out something, I guess.
Yeah.
We exist, but...
Our Instagram is
barely.
currently on hold right now because life has been absolutely nuts for us,
you know what?
Everybody.
Send us an email, justuslosers@gmail.com.
It doesn't even have to be 5-paragraph format. Just send us...
It does. Last week on our vacation episode.
Yeah, check out our campfire episode.
It was kind of fun.
Put a computer in between a bunch of us and we just talked. Yeah. Mostly about Loki.
Yeah.
And then about...
a lot of Loki, and then we kind of round tabled some stuff.
What should we been up to?
Yeah. I mentioned that I was in the middle of the Oxbow incident book in that campfire discussion, and I finished that book on the plane home.
Okay.
And it's really, really good. And the last chunk is like, oh no,
bad?
No, depressing.
Oh.
Yeah. So
explain the book again for people who didn't.
So for people who didn't watch the vacation episode,
or pay attention when you were talking.
When I was talking, I presume you're not paying attention now when I'm talking.
Right.
So, but I'll say it again for the benefit of people who want to hear it again.
Yeah.
So the Oxbow incident is a Western. It's a Western novel, and it very much is written in that Western style. Short, punchy sentences, stoic cowboy characters, and stuff like that. But it was written in 1940, which, I mean, there were plenty of Westerns right then. It was a popular genre coming into the big screen. Stagecoach was a big movie, 1939, John Wayne's breakout role.
Mm-hmm.
But the Oxbow incident is more of what I'd characterize as an anti-Western. So the story is there's a couple of cowboys, and they've been kind of up in the mountains doing cowboy stuff for a while. Mostly not with each other. Mostly. They come down into town, and they just have enough time to pour themselves a drink when a kid comes riding into town from another one of the ranches and says, "Hey, you know those cattle rustlers we've been suspecting have been around rustling cattle for a while? Well, they upped and shot one of our dudes right in the face."
Oh
no! So town goes all abuzz really quickly, and they rally together a posse to go out and track down these guys. And they track down some guys, and they're like, "All right, you must be the guys." And the guys are like, we're not the guys. We have perfectly logical explanations for why we're out here in the middle of winter. Well, no, it's like springtime. Why we're out here in the middle of springtime with a whole bunch of cows and no bill of sale. And we totally didn't shoot the guy, even though we have his gun.
No. They definitely shot the guy.
Except maybe they didn't shoot the guy.
Oh, did they maybe not shoot the guy?
Maybe they didn't shoot the guy. And so the whole middle chunk of the book is like, did these guys shoot the guy?
They might have shot the guy. Maybe they didn't shoot the guy.
Yeah, and so it's not like a straightforward cowboy murder mystery kind of thing as much as it's like a investigation of mob justice and its role in the American frontier, and sort of tackling it does very much the anti-Western thing of tackling the sort of hyper-masculine ideal of the cowboy, which is there's good qualities in there, but it can be a very destructive thing if taken as a whole, and if put into circumstances where that strength becomes brittle.
Yeah,
sort of. So it asks a lot of interesting questions. It's kind of a slow read. It takes place over the course of about a day and a half, and it's like 250, 300 pages. It's basically written in real time, just like as events occur.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
So it drags a little bit, and there's a lot of characters will kind of break off from the main group and have a little philosophical conversation about what's going on for 3 or 4 pages, which is a little Ayn Rand, but fun.
A little what?
Ayn Rand.
How's that?
It's a lot of just moralizing and philosophy shoved into a novel.
Okay.
But it does just a little bit of that, and it's not too bad because like the characters are really well drawn. There's a bunch of them, but you get each of their own perspectives, and you kind of understand where they're coming from, and you get to play their little tensions against each other.
Yeah.
It's good. It's really well done. The movie's also good. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but I remember really liking it at the time. It's got Henry Fonda as the main guy.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, Oxbow incident. I really like anti-Westerns.
We also watched, she and I went to the theater to watch In the Heights. Have you seen In the Heights yet?
I haven't seen In the Heights yet. How is it?
Did you like Hamilton?
I liked Hamilton. I'm not in love with Hamilton, but I liked Hamilton.
I am in love with Hamilton.
Yeah.
What did you like about Hamilton?
That's a great question. I'm really glad you asked that question. I haven't thought about the answer to that question in a long time.
Well, I'll tell you what I like about Hamilton.
Okay, well, that felt like you're building up to that. I'll let you do that.
The characters all have very clear motivations and goals, and characterizations that, when paired with each other, create interesting conflicts. The pinnacle example of that is literally Hamilton and Burr. The two of them, like their opposing goals, create the conflict of the whole musical. And after watching In the Heights, I have 100% confidence that Lin-Manuel Miranda is one of the best ensemble cast character writing people in the world.
Okay, that's a very specific category, but it's one to be good at.
Within the Heights. So first of all, the music is great. It's just
what
it's
is
so
In the
fun.
Heights? Tell the people.
In the Heights is it is it is a musical that is a story being told by the main character Usnavi, who is played by Anthony Ramos. In the original musical, it was played by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he's telling the story of him growing up in Washington Heights. Not really growing up, but being grown up in Washington Heights. And the whole thing is that there is this group that everyone in Washington Heights, they're all Latino. They come from, there's a group that comes from the Dominican Republic. There's a group that comes from Cuba. There's a group that comes from Mexico. They're all like, it's such a heavy Latino community. And they all have dreams. The whole thing kind of stems from this, like the American dream. So many of them are children of immigrants or immigrants themselves coming to America to have the American dream. And they all have these dreams of what they want to do. And it's kind of that story of them being mid-20s to 30, like the group, and to keep it ambiguous, making progress towards their dream or achieving their dream or not achieving their dream or changing their dream based on things. It's all about their dreams and how their dreams interact. And there are about 5 characters that are kind of, I think about 5, ballparking right now, that are the kind of focal point of it. And all of them have, and so the reason when I mentioned their motivations and their goals is they all have their goals and what they value. And and as humans, sometimes their goals and what they value don't perfectly align, but they kind of fit together with other people's goals and what they value in these really interesting puzzle pieces that create character conflicts in between the pairs of them, among the pairs of them, that just makes a phenomenal story that writes itself. I feel like that's what he does. Is he didn't really do it with Hamilton because those people existed, but well, he
takes a little creative licensing.
Licensing,
you can right around a thing.
But he has this character wanted to do this, and because of these given situations, is now in this conflict that can't tell people because of this specific conflict, and has you understand that character. And the first 5 songs are all literally just each of them singing, explaining what their character arcs are, or their character motivations are. And then you just watch it play out where a character who has their sole motivation is trying to do that motivation, but it directly conflicts with character B, who has a different motivation, and you understand exactly why that happens. And you can see those coming together to collide at one given moment, and you're like, oh no. And then sub character B is backed up by sub character C, which has a very unique relationship with character A. That so it's just there's no bad guy. And that's something that it does that even better than Hamilton, because with Hamilton, Burr is kind of the bad guy. You understand his motivations and everything, but
he's the closest thing to a villain you get aside from King George.
Right.
Da, da, da.
Which has an appearance in the movie.
Yeah.
It's literally a holding music. It's just you'll be back. But there's no villain. It's literally just the fact that people's motivations lead them into natural conflicts with each other. And I loved it so much because you know how much I love just dread.
Yes. Weird enough. But
yeah. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So would you say it's a dreadful movie?
It's a dreadfully amazing movie.
Okay.
There's a couple points where you're like, I feel like it should be wrapping up soon, and then it wraps up.
Okay.
It's a little predictable from the beginning.
Sure.
There are character archetypes that you look at that character archetype and you're like, I know exactly what's going to happen with this person. And then that's exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's just crazy to see, Stephanie Beatriz be as like high pitched and like loud and colorful as she is in that, when I'm fully used to her as Rosa. But no, it's a phenomenal movie. I'm absolutely going to want to watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fully, it also might not be as good as I think, because I think I was going into it expecting it to be complete bad, like just not good, because it's Manuel Miranda's first one. And so I was expecting like he perfected the art with Hamilton, which he did.
Sure.
But maybe the musical, if I went back and watched the raw musical, it wouldn't be as good. But because he's had the experience with Hamilton and he tweaked it, there are definitely some situations shots and events that I feel like can't really happen on the stage. So it's probably some elements. There's a whole musical number fully at a pool, and there's stuff that definitely didn't happen on stage.
First
but
20 rows get a free, whatever you call the thing you put
splash
over yourself.
zone. Yeah. There is one moment, I think my biggest problem with it, there's one moment towards the end that it seems to break the reality that the movie has created. So up until then, it's been a pretty grounded reality with a couple little, there's like a daydream moment that, since it's a daydream, is fine, that it was a little fantastical. It had giant swaths of fabric coming over buildings. And there's a couple other things where it's just people are doing hand motions and there's little animations that pop up with it. But
it's
then
a musical. You get a little bit of hyper reality.
Yeah. But then there's one song towards the end that two characters, that gravity shifts and they're dancing along the side of a building, and it feels like it's going too hyper reality for how much they've done so far. It was the only part that I was like, what's happening? Did the building fall over? Because they movies do that, where they, throughout the movie, they kind of convince you what the reality is. And then if at the end of the movie something way different happens, it kind of catches you off guard. It was very seamless how they did it, because it was during a musical number, and like the first when they transitioned from upright gravity to sideways gravity was literally, they did it so carefully that I didn't notice it until the guy just like basically did a flip and landed on the side of the building, because it had one character sitting against the back. So as like, cause it was a rig like they did with Inception. So as it was leaning backwards, her back was on the ground. So you didn't see her move at all. And he was just leaning in just the right way that like he could support himself. So it was until he literally just like made one move and was suddenly sideways, like, whoa. And then my ADHD brain decided the next 2 minutes that I needed to figure out how the fuck they did that. Going back wasn't as seamless, because you could kind of see how they were sliding back and leaning into it.
Sure.
But that movie magic, yo.
That's cool.
I was like, oh, they're sideways now. How did they do that? CGI, maybe? And then she kept stepping on windows that would definitely have broken, so my brain caught on to that stuff.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
No, but it is a wonderful movie. It's so much fun. I highly recommend it to everybody to go check it out.
I'll just do that very thing.
Do it!
Okay.
Hey guys, Preston here. We could only fit about 15 to 20 minutes of this episode on video, so if you want to listen to any more what you've been up to's or news things that we talked about, you can listen to the full audio version. You can find it on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and any other app that you listen to podcasts on. Thanks for watching!